One man, one sauce, one desire. To take your taste buds on a journey of a lifetime. Introducing Bernie Wilde's Adventure Sauce. Be ready to experience a rush of excitement, a hint of danger, a plethora of anticipation, an abundance in flavor, a possibility of romance.
Hey, I got this. Hi, folks. Mike Rosado here, host of the Pencil Pushers podcast. I wanted to take a moment to share with you a new heat sauce that some of my friends and I have created called, that's right, Bernie Wilde's Adventure Sauce. The all-purpose condiment sauce with a kick you've been waiting for. Bernie Wilde's was made to put excitement back into your kitchen. It's perfect for tossing into salads and pastas, drizzling on burgers, tacos, and takeout, or just straight up dipping. Not only is Bernie Wilde's Adventure Sauce packed full of flavor, it's also vegan, gluten-free, and made with no preservatives or stabilizers, making it good for you, good for the environment, and hands down delicious. But as ready as we are to share it with you and the world, we still need the funds to get it into production and onto your plate. We've got a 30-day Kickstarter running from October 14th through November 13th, and with your help, we can get it done. Just go to BernieWildes.com and sign up for our mailing list to be the first Bernie backer. That's BURNYWILDS.com as we take our maiden voyage of
Bernie Wilde's Adventure Sauce.
You are listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. Thank you for downloading and subscribing. Coming to you virtually live from high atop the historic Raleigh building in beautiful downtown Raleigh. The NCF&B takes the listener behind the scenes to tell the stories of the people that contribute to the creation of the food and beverage community of North Carolina. And now, the misfits in the dish pit, the faces of the front. They are Max Trujillo and Matthew Weiss.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss. And we are going out to the coast today. And let me tell you, there are sharks in the water, people. We are talking with founder and creator of Blue Shark Vodka out there on Wrightsville Beach, one Ms. Brooke Bloomquist. Welcome, Brooke.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing all of this vodka. We have so much vodka at the place now. We are lousy with vodka.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing to be, you know?
For sure.
I'm going to pour vodka, and I'm going to pour it into these glasses.
Let's taste it.
And
let's start here. So, Brooke, you have had a various career working in marketing and restaurants, but somehow you got from New York City working in Irish pubs to the beaches on Hawaii and then dreamed up of a Blue Shark vodka. So take us back. In the Wayback Machine.
And but also Northern California we discussed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. From my home area.
Yeah, so born and raised in the Bay Area, and that's actually kind of where Blue Shark didn't start back then, but my dad used to work for Seagram's, running their international marketing for all the spirits.
Yeah.
So he's been in the business, because a lot of people are like, did this company just come out of nowhere?
Yeah.
So he does have a background, and anyone who has met my dad, we all call him the Chief. He's an entrepreneur. He has started many businesses. He's worked in many different fields. And I was living in Hawaii at the time, working for
Which island?
Maui.
Oh, okay. Wowie.
Have you been to Hawaii?
I have been to Maui.
I've been to Maui.
I've been to Hawaii.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I prefer Kauai myself, but...
Well, they say Maui no ko'oi, which means Maui is the best.
Oh.
Or the
Touche.
crazy drive to Hana and like Vomitsville trying to get there. Like it's the craziest, windiest road you'll ever take.
All the hair
black
point
sandy
turns,
beaches and it's fantastic.
Yeah. So Dad was over visiting me when I was living there, and we were sitting by the pool bar having a couple drinks, and we kind of just started throwing ideas around about, hey, what if we created some kind of spirit with a figurine at the bottom? And why I say figurine is, like I said, my dad
entrepreneur, the chief. Yeah,
the chief
entrepreneur.
He actually back in the 90s started bobbing head dolls, then sold it to Upper Deck. So he's always been into sports figurines.
Bobblehead dolls.
Bobbleheads, yeah.
Okay.
I thought you said bobbing head dolls.
Yeah.
But that's another way to say it, I guess, right?
Or maybe that was like a proprietary term. We're talking about bobblehead dolls.
Bobbleheads.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's crazy. Wait,
yeah.
he started that?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
You must have an unbelievable. Do you have a Kirk Gibson?
Heck yeah.
Does he have like a hurt arm, like a draped arm?
The one thing is his elbow like goes back and forth.
Nice.
Yeah, from 1988 World Series. Hopefully.
And by the way, we didn't even start this off. I'm sorry, I'd be so remiss. Let's take a drink because even though you're going to hear this later, it is my buddy and partner's Max Trujillo's birthday today.
Yay!
Happy birthday, buddy!
I'm
Happy
21
birthday.
again.
Yay!
Yes.
Drinking the best vodka on your birthday.
That's right.
Ooh, that is tasty.
And we, so Brooke, you supplied us with this vodka and also a little Fever Tree pink grapefruit sparkling, which is fantastic. So we're just putting it down. It's a great way to start a Tuesday morning as I turn 43 years old. Yes, that's how old I am today. I'm proud of my age. How about that?
Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, I'm an old guy, but yeah.
You don't look 43.
You're middle-aged guy.
Thanks. I'm a middle-aged man.
Yeah. You're not an old guy.
You're looking at my gut. I'm working on it. For all of the old references.
Middle-aged man.
Yeah, Mike Myers. All right,
so let's get back to bobblehead. So your dad literally like conceived of the idea of bobbleheads,
Yes.
and then you were thinking, how do we put a bobblehead or a figurine in a bottle of something?
Kind of, yeah. Because back, like, what was this now? Probably 7-8 years ago, that's kind of when craft beer was on the up and up.
Yeah.
And I'm a researcher, so I'm like, oh, what's going to be the next cool thing? And, started just reading a lot of things that they were thinking that, the craft cocktails, spirits were going to then kind of be the next thing, which 5 years, fast forward 5 years, here we kind of are. So.
Yeah. What I want to know, what were you reading? What are the insider publications that I should be reading so I can find out what's next?
No, I mean, not necessarily any insider publications. It's just, I just knew that the craft beer scene, because in Hawaii, they started opening up a lot of breweries out there. And I was just like, okay, this is beer. And I'm not a beer drinker, but what's going to be the next thing?
Right.
So then
craft spirits. Yeah.
Spirits. Here we are.
Yeah. Okay.
And coast life and beach life, all of this has been kind of akin to your growing up. I'm gathering then, right? I mean, you're obviously like California, Northern California, you got the coast there.
Yep.
But then you spent a lot of time in Hawaii, and then you're coming out of Wilmington, North Carolina here.
Yes.
So the coast has always been something that compels you, like you must be near the coast or so, and that found its way into the life of your business.
Yeah.
What's that relationship?
My dad was in the Navy as well. Again, the chief, jack of all trades.
I feel like we need to get Chief Bloomquist on here.
Oh my
should
God.
we give him a call? FaceTime him in? Zoom him in?
It's funny. I went on a radio station down in Wilmington, and Joe, it's a big talker, and I was like, you got to bring my dad in. Because he, like, the guy, Joe, talks all about sports and stuff like that, and he was like, can you come back every week? Joe wants my dad back every week now because he's hilarious. So maybe part 2 we'll have to get Chief in here for a podcast.
Seriously. All right.
No, but so my dad went to the Naval Academy, and then my brother and sister, they were also in the Navy as well. So, I mean, it's beach, water, Navy, all kind of ties in.
Yeah.
We're all scuba divers as well, except for my mom. We always say she just likes to lay by the pool.
Yeah.
Drinking blue shark vodka.
Yes.
So, okay, so how do you take the plunge then? Like, because when you're on Hawaii, you're kind of on island time, and you kind of, I mean, not that great things don't come out of Hawaii, but it's a little bit more of a relaxed pace. So how do you then say, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do Blue Shark, we're going to do it in North Carolina. And by the way, for those people listening, and we'll get to this part of the story later, but this is made with all North Carolina corn. So that's pretty cool too. So how did that all come together? Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea started, and just like anything, lots of research, lots of design. If you've gone on our website, or if you haven't, you can go on it. You can see the versions of the different bottles. Like, it's a kind of a joke. I say we kind of started off as like blue whale vodka because the shark was so big.
Yeah.
So designing the bottle was the first thing because we were like, okay, we want to have a super cool, unique bottle. But then we decided, well, we then need to make sure that the product that we're putting in there matches the bottle.
Yeah.
Because I think like anything, everyone, and I love it when we first came out and some of our like friends and family members were like, it's actually good. And I was always like, what do you mean it's actually good?
Yeah.
Like, but nowadays everything's kind of a marketing gimmick.
No,
so
I appreciate you being transparent about that, because in the vodka game, I mean, we joke about it, but vodka, the true mark of a good vodka, it's literally supposed to taste like nothing. It's supposed to taste neutral.
It's like hospitality or like service. The best service is the one you don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Like in my audio engineering, when I went to school for that, they're like, the best producer is the one you don't realize. Like Britney Spears has great producers because she probably doesn't sound like that when she goes in the studio.
What?
I'm just news break. Yeah.
What?
I think she might not always be totally on pitch, dog. But no, but yeah, like that's the idea, right? I mean, we're sitting here sipping on this right now, and it's delicious vodka, but at the same time, it's really more like Fever Tree pink grapefruit with booze in it, because that's what we're drinking. And vodka should not impart a total additive to the whole thing. It's supposed to enhance whatever it's put in, right? Like it's supposed to like help whatever.
This
it's
drink would definitely be less if it was just the Fever Tree. The Blue Shark is definitely lifting it up for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But see, that's the dangerous thing though about Blue Shark is because people are always like, oh my God, I don't taste the alcohol if they're mixing it with something. And then they're like, oh my gosh, half a bottle's gone.
Yeah.
So that is the interesting question. Like, so you're here in our studio and you're telling your story, but if I'm on the shelf of it, and I assume you're well distributed now on the ABC stores, are you in almost every county at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I know you guys know how the ABC system works. It's,
we sure do. Yeah.
Deliver it to Raleigh and then it's on each individual county to bring it in if they want. Yeah.
It's a total pain in the ass.
Yep.
You didn't say that. I did. You did not say that. But
having said that, so yeah, if I'm walking in, I'm Joe customer walking in, and I'm looking for a vodka. Mm-hmm. Why would I mean? Sure, the packaging is going to catch my eye. We'll put pictures on our show notes. It's got this awesome little like you're scuba diving in the ocean with a shark kind of thing with the blue background and everything. But besides that, like, what would intrigue me to go buy this bottle versus, all the other vodka choices out there?
Well, our signature bottle, the original bottle, has a hand-blown shark at the bottom. And so I think kind of to the point of, oh, the vodka's actually good. Like, people buy it, again, I think, solely on looks. But then that's kind of what led us to coming out with the two other bottles, because the hand-blown sharks, they are costly because it's a hand-blown shark at the bottom of the bottle, and each shark is unique. Each one's individually blown. But people then kept saying, well, are you guys going to make the bigger bottles? Are you going to make the bigger bottles? Because I actually love this vodka. It's so good. And so we originally were going to come out with the larger bottle this summer, but between COVID and the demand, we then sped up our production and creation of the bottles and the labels, and so came out with the 1.75 in March, and then over the summer we came out with the other 750 that doesn't have the hand blown shark, and that's available for $19.95.
Yeah, I can see that. So,
and that, I mean, I don't know, you guys probably don't go in and like look at the price of every North Carolina spirit, but that's the thing that so many people tell us. They're like, that's priced amazingly, because
I actually do know the prices of all these vodkas on the walls, and you're in the same territory as Tito's back in the day when we were hanging out with Social House. They're $19.99 as well, from what I gather. So you're like right in that price point. That's like a driver vodka price range. Like that's where you're trying to, like, if you're building a bar right now, like a restaurant, you're buying vodka in that price point to be like in your well, and like what you're gonna like probably build your cocktail program off of. So you're sitting in the right price range for like high volume, which is great. Like that's
hold on though, you're not buying a $20 vodka to sit in your well.
You could if you
Yeah.
want
I mean,
good vodka.
if you're a craft cocktail bar, I guess. But I think, I mean, that seems.
It's a little pricey, but
Yeah.
that's when you're a small distiller, having anything less than $19 is almost impossible.
No, I get that.
But $19.99 is a really good price point for.
I could see this being on your menu. You're on your cocktail menu, like as
a
your
call.
as a call. Yeah, no, but like,
Sure.
oh, this is our signature sea breeze, or this is our signature drink menu.
Yeah.
But for if somebody just says, yeah, can I have a vodka and soda?
If you want the crap stuff that comes in a plastic bottle or so, yeah,
right,
you could
or
do that.
Smirnoff,
If you don't respect yourself or your bar, sure.
Yeah, but I think too, people are trying to transition into those like nicer experiences. People are going out less nowadays, so it's like, well, if I'm going to go out, I want to have a really good cocktail.
Yeah, and is that the difference between the bottles? Like, essentially, you have a 750 with the shark inside. That's $32, and then you have essentially the $20 bottle with that. Like the difference is the bottle, right?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah. So you want the cool bottle for home.
You put the
a
shark
gift for somebody
on your bar.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's.
and then I
I
refill it with the 750.
Well, yeah, I guess that's we can't say that, but
yeah.
Not in my home bar. I can read.
yeah, you're in your home bar,
Yeah, your home bar, yeah.
And the smaller one too, like it's good for speed wells for bartenders too, because the hand blown shark, it's beautiful, but
It's not necessarily
little-
practical.
yeah, for a bartender.
For a bartender,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good. Like you thought about that in a marketing sense for both ways. You have your cake and you're eating it too, which is a good way to go. You look at both sides of the business because vodka is traditionally like a high volume product in more ways than one. Like you usually are pouring 2 or 3 ounces at a time when you're making it, whether it's a martini or just anything. You're going through a lot of vodka.
So
And I mean, you made the notation that we're priced up there with Tito's, and that's kind of how we look at ourselves. We don't really compare to any other North Carolina distillery because we have the goal to grow as to become a national brand.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious, why then would you? Because I have the impression that you attack this from a marketing thing, which is cool, and you're transparent. You're like, I want to do this, and then I want to make it. I want to have the product match the marketing. But I would think that coming from like, why would I start my own distillery? That seems like a lot of work and a lot of labor and parts and all of the other headaches when I can essentially like buy the juice, or maybe even just like buy the. But you took the extra step of finding a North Carolina farmer, and using an exclusive product. So what was the decision behind that? That seems like a lot of extra steps.
And it was. That's why I'm smiling because, and especially being, the first distillery in New Hanover County, we definitely paved the way. I mean, and it's kudos to, my family because, we would go and we would say, hey, we need these certain permits, but, the county and stuff, they don't
have any protocol for that.
Right, exactly. Whereas, like, if you're like, oh, I'm going to open up, Max's brewery, like, there was already...
Yeah, all right. You said it. Let's do it.
There's already 10 breweries in town, so they know like what documents and what protocols
There's
and
precedent.
permits. Yeah. And so it was challenging, and finding the space and the equipment. But
did you at any point thinking about doing it the other way? And then what made you, and if so, what made you decide, no, we're going to do a brick and mortar distillery?
No, because we wanted it. I mean, we're a family business. I mean, yes, we want to become a national brand one day, but we wanted it to come from us. There are a lot of, companies out there that use the grain neutral where they just throw it in a bottle, like you said. But then
but you're full grained glass, like you're making the actual liquor.
Yes,
with all North Carolina sweet corn with a local farmer.
That is a crazy feat. Very few distilleries are doing that. I know we've had like Pine Top has been on before. Actually, Social House, I think they are full grained glass.
Remember the Black Creek Aquifer?
Black Creek Aquifer. We said it many times in a commercial read. But also there are fantastic distilleries in our state that do purchase bulk product and then finish it as well, which would be what you're saying, Matt, like the other way of doing it, which would be like the simpler way of doing it, and just calling a company that's in like what, Illinois or Indiana any of those I states. Yeah. They make all they just
where all the
produce a ton of,
and you can tell them the way you want to make it. You can still have quality control, or just I mean, it's not a secret, and they're one of the best gins, arguably, in the world, Durham Distillery.
Right.
They start with a neutral grain spirit. Now, gin is a next step process, and there's a whole thing more that they do to it. But you could theoretically do a similar thing where you're getting a neutral grain spirit and then treating it however you want to do.
But then again, remember at the beginning of this, I said my dad, the chief. Yeah,
there's only one way.
Yeah.
I like that though.
So he was the driving force. So then, like, who is the distiller?
You're looking at her.
So you learned how to distill vodka.
Yep. I went out to Colorado and took a distilling course, and here we are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a bold move.
How long did that process take? Like your education system, or to figure out how to be a distiller?
It was about a year of studying, and then going out there for a couple weeks and
where in Colorado,
getting our hands on in it, up in the mountains.
Or can you not disclose the disclose?
Secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only a couple of Boulder distillery, or did you say Boulder?
She did not say Boulder.
No, and it's kind of like our
what is it?
The machine that we use. That's our secret too.
Ooh. You're not going to tell us what if I take a tour? Can I take a tour of the distillery?
No, it's only open. Well, you guys are media, actually, so you guys are allowed.
You have to name your distilling machine. You have to. Do you have a name for it? No, or you're not going to tell me. You're shaking your head.
You're going to have to come down to Wilmington and see.
Okay.
No, we're not open to the public. I mean, media's come in, to do interviews, that kind of stuff. I actually did a live podcast out of there, which was kind of interesting once for some local kids that have started their own bartending podcast down in Wilmington.
Cool.
But
which show is it? Give them a shout out. Who is that?
The Budget Bartender.
The Budget Bartender. Oh yeah, we follow them on Instagram.
Do we?
Yeah.
They're a really cute couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're open to that, but the general public we're not open to, simply because we're not a tasting room.
Right.
I mean, and it's really fascinating that people are, I know, very intrigued by it, but it's like we only have vodka to offer. So
what's there to taste? Yeah, well you can taste. But what about selling outside of and especially now where you can have like your own bar at your distillery? What about doing that and being able to sell bottles?
Right now we're not looking to, because if I was to have a bar at the distillery, then you always have to have someone there bartending.
Yeah.
You always have to,
Yeah, it's a separate business in itself.
It's the restaurant business. And I mean...
But to make enough vodka, don't you always have to have the still going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how many...
But I mean, what I'm saying is we would much rather focus our efforts on expanding in North Carolina and getting, down to South Carolina and Florida versus having like a brick and mortar of, and insurance liability and policy.
Gotcha.
Well, okay. I'm curious. Like, I've been doing all this research on ABC, especially in 2020 with these like crazy things that have all happened with the pandemic and all. And alcohol, bars are all shut down, so no one is buying. Bars are not buying wholesale liquor right now, but Americans, North Carolinians, are buying a ton of liquor from the ABC stores, and they're wildly over. I think maybe I already mentioned this on the podcast a week or so ago, but I did for Raleigh Magazine coming out in October. I did a piece about the boom of the ABC stores and where they're at. Typically, since 2013, I just went back to the year that I moved here. So I was like, just as far as I'm concerned, the growth of ABC sales every year is up about like between 5 and 8%. Like 5 and 8% is like the increase year to year. But this year,
for overall sales, you're talking
overall
about
wholesale sales
in the
state. Yeah,
okay.
It's shown anywhere between 5 to 8% increase every year since 2013, except for 2020, which now we're on pace for 16%.
Right.
So it's significantly higher this year than other years. So we're on pace to have a growth of $91 million from last year's profits.
And are you saying that's you're saying that's wholesale, so like selling to restaurants, or overall liquor sales?
Overall liquor sales being sold, and it's easy to kind of follow that number because the state is the only seller of alcohol at this point.
Yeah.
So it's all dithered down to one company, and all those facts and everything. Someone can check my math, but it's all public record.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just went and checked that out, and I was like, oh, interesting. So we are experiencing the highest growth at least since 2013, and I could probably venture to guess that's probably this year is an outlier than other years that we're seeing so much. So with you as a distiller, Brooke, are you noticing, like, are you reaping the benefits of this? Are you seeing great sales for Blue Shark vodka at this point?
Yeah, we've seen great sales this year, but we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary in June.
This is all you know.
So exactly.
Yeah.
And the first year it's, you're just trying to build the awareness and brand recognition, but in the downfall, with the bars and restaurants being closed too, especially in the New Hanover County area, and working with a couple of restaurants here in Raleigh, you get on their menu as a signature cocktail. Well, with those restaurants, they're not buying the volume because they're closed.
Or 50% capacity.
Yeah,
exactly.
Being
a distributor for so many years, like you would build brands through the on-premise, right? And then the off-premise that comes later. But usually that's why, like in the old school way of doing things, on-premise usually received a better price. I'm talking about California rules and all, but you would get, a bottle of Tito's would be $10 to a restaurant, whereas if you bought it at a retail store, it'd be $30. So it's like they'll give the restaurant a better price so that they can activate it. It's a marketing decision, and that's the way it goes. But you're building a brand without bars, which is an interesting way of looking at it right now. So you're just, you are like very hopeful about the design of your bottle, because how else is anyone really going to differentiate you from another vodka right now? I would say.
And especially now there's no tastings in the stores, which they just changed recently, that you could have tasting in ABC stores, but during pandemic, I assume that there's not. Or is there?
Well, it's, again, county by county. We just did a tasting 2 weekends ago in Indian Trail, right outside Charlotte, Mecklenburg area. So again, it's up to each county, and they're in there with the masks and all that. But it's like I said, it's been a weird year. But at the same time, people are at home and they're drinking more.
Absolutely. But back to Max's point, like, so you've been around since June. Pandemic hit in March.
No, June 2019.
June last year.
I know that. And so you have, what is that? Like 9 months of data. And then you have to like continue to build your brand with people buying only off premise. So how do you continue to build and through this pandemic while people are they're making their own decisions? It's not like they're going to a bar and somebody's guiding them through, we have this vodka, this Blue Shark vodka is cool. Like the only thing they're getting is they're seeing it on the shelf. So what are some of the things that you were able to do through the pandemic to get them to buy Blue Shark?
Yeah. Well, given, my background in marketing, to my point, what I said earlier is it doesn't just look good, it tastes good too. But, trying to do be creative, out of the box ideas of what can we do for marketing. We have something called the Blue Tube. Mm-hmm. It's our channel on YouTube. So during the pandemic, we had a bunch of when the pandemic first hit.
Yeah.
Go online and you can learn how to make these cocktails from your home. Super easy things.
Yeah.
Cool.
So just trying to,
going on the North Carolina Food and Beverage podcast.
Well, that's, now your sales are just going to skyrocket. Well, I want to talk to you more about getting back into the distilling process and the thing that you do that, because that's a great tale. But before we do that, since you are one of the folks that is doing great stuff in North Carolina, there's somebody that I want to talk about who champions all the great stories that go on in North Carolina, and that's the Folks Foundation.
That's right. Folks Foundation, who is a 501c3 nonprofit company, provides grants for companies, for small businesses that lead in the artisan capacity. You've got artists, musicians, podcasters, craft distillers and food makers that are all part of this umbrella of creativity, all coming out of North Carolina, and all of that is supported by the Folks Foundation. They have a journal that releases quarterly, and they now also have a general store out there in historic New Bern, so not too far from Wilmington, just a little bit up from Wilmington area. But you can read more about it. You can check out their journal online if you visit folksfoundation.org, and you can also consider a small donation to help support NC makers. All the money that you donate to the Folks Foundation gets channeled into supporting specific artisans, help hone their craft, and support from there. So go to folksfoundation.org and tell them that Max and Matt sent you, and they'll love that.
They will love that.
And I think that's really cool because there are some amazing companies and products out of North Carolina. Just kind of touching base on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shit. I'm kidding. That's what this whole show is about. Like, literally, there's so much greatness coming out of this state. It's amazing to see. And I'm being facetious as I'm saying that, but yeah, there's so much that's going out here, and there's so much that like you can take pride in from this culture of food. That's why, like, when the pandemic hits, it's sad and it's unfortunate that many businesses are either on halt that have halted their business or may never come back. But that doesn't stop the momentum of creativity and artisan and like the entrepreneurial spirit of this state. This is like what Matt and I both like kind of jumped into when we first moved here. It's like, man, people really make stuff happen in this state.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And so that's going to continue to go, watching businesses trying to figure out how to stay alive during this time, because this is now new. This is our normal. Like, I think we should not be anticipating when it goes back to normal. No. This is it.
Yeah.
And deal with it. And so, but you're dealing with it. You are, so yeah, you're taking this distillery in this new world. You're a new product. You are finding, you're having to find ways to market yourself in a socially distant way. And it's also odd too, because the product that you sell is inherently something that like brings people together, right?
Right. It's a very social gathering. Hey, let's get together and have drinks. But my family, my parents on their street, they get together Saturday nights with their neighbors, and they have like social distancing. They all like make their cocktails and stand, in the cul-de-sac and kind of hang out, but not really.
Oh, maybe you should go the opposite way and get George Thorogood to like sponsor I Drink Alone. Yeah, with nobody else. And like just be like Blue Shark vodka for when you're by yourself and want to get loaded. When I drink alone, I prefer to be by myself. Yeah, don't you remember that song?
I mean, I can hear the George Thorogood in you, but I don't remember that.
It's a real song.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go play this on the way home.
That is a real song, and it's so like sad that like when he wrote that song, he was like, "This is a great idea. Yeah, like I like drinking alone." And then you listen to it, and you're like, "Yeah, you're an alcoholic. This is a horrible perspective.
This is very depressing."
You wrote a whole song about drinking to forget. That's great. Yeah. Don't do that, folks. Enjoy yourselves while you're having Blue Shark vodka.
But be socially distant.
Yes.
But I do want to go back to the maker product of this, because I'm intrigued and fascinated. And I don't know if you're being like super humble about it, but so you went to Colorado, you learned how to distill, and then you come back and you learn this process. And by the way, you speak about the quality in the bottle. So you do this 4-time distillation with all Carolina sweet corn coming from one farm, and then reverse osmosis to do a 3-time filtration. So this vodka is super clean and
you've
nice.
done your research.
I know, Matt reads.
I know. I'm like, you just gave my pitch.
Well, now we're done. No, but I want to know, like, how did you come up with that? And I mean, was that from the place you were in Colorado, the to not be named place? But we're going to find out that research too. But like, yeah, how did you come up with that? And I mean, I understand that your dad worked for Seagram's, but he was in marketing, not in distilling. So talk to us about that process.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't to come up with the recipe. It's like any good chef, right? Like you don't perfect it on the first time.
Yeah.
And we, would do sampling and taste testing. Hey, what do we like about this? Oh, there's like an after bite burn, so we need to change this. And then we would process it through and change that way. So it was about 6 months of crafting the perfect recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you even know how to do like the technical information? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a consultant with you? Because you have to know then. Oh, well, these are the esters coming for, or I have to cut out more. You have to know the technical aspects of what you're tasting, and then how to remove that or how to clean it up.
So that what I learned out in the secret place in Colorado.
Yeah. All the answers are in Colorado.
Yeah. So what I learned out there, I then took it back. To North Carolina, and
you did. And so, what about
the process there?
What about the I'm going to say the tasting panel? Which, by the way, another kudos to you. You got a 93-point score on the tasting panel, which is a pretty legit publication that doesn't just hand out scores. If you're into that sort of thing, and then also you won silver at the San Francisco Spirits Competition, which is pretty much like. I don't know, Max. I would say it's like the elite in our country, the elite competition.
I think that's considered to be probably the biggest or most reputable spirit program. Yeah, I mean,
it took Tito's I think 10 years to win his first medal.
Wow.
Yeah.
First year.
First year, no
first
big deal.
year out.
Yeah, and then we also won a handful of medals for the SIP Award, which is that's consumer, which usually, again, COVID, it being weird, they usually have people come in and they're tasting it purely on the sip, not even seeing the bottle.
Yeah.
And won another medal for the design. So,
wow,
got a couple.
Okay, so medals. How do you have? Is it your family that sits around and tasted a bunch of stuff that comes off the still, and you're like, okay, I like this, I don't like this, and they give you their feedback, and then you go back to work?
Yes, we did. And then I don't know if you guys know who Dale Degroff is. He is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Fantastic bartender. Well, he established the cocktail program, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lot of But you guys are from big cities, so that's why you.
Well, also most people listening to this are in the industry. Probably have most likely heard of Dale Degroff. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, he actually he's coming out with a new book in November, and he has Blue Shark vodka that he's used in about 13 of his recipes.
13 of them. That's pretty awesome.
Could be 12. It's fine. But it's more than one.
It's either a dozen or a baker's dozen.
Yeah.
You should have started with 10 and then worked your way up. Don't go back. Yeah, I'm kidding. But no, that's a huge endorsement right there. Dale is like the man. He's the
king
master
of
cocktails. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He might be the king of cocktails, but you are a female. You're the queen of distilling in North Carolina. I don't know. It's a stupid reference, but we just had Nicole Austin on from George Dickel, and she's making whiskey, Tennessee whiskey, that she also says is bourbon no matter what. Like she made that distinction and got into it pretty decent. Made a good case for it as well. But being a female in the industry is new. It's different, right? It used to be the old boys made all the whiskey, all the bourbon, all the vodka, all of that, and now like this new era is coming in where you didn't come from generations of distilling and it's like, oh, well, I did this because my grandpappy did it and all that stuff. It's no, you learned a skill and then went out and did it. And I think that's again, a super badass mentality of I want to do this. I'm going to figure out how to do it, and then I'm going to make it happen, which is great. You're in a new era, and like I was saying to Matt before, it'll be great when we don't have to say things like, "Oh, and you're a female in the industry," because it should not even matter. It's not even a big deal anymore, and it kind of isn't. It isn't a big deal anymore, but it is for this moment of time right now. Still a unique.
Happenstance
of what you're doing here, because most of the distillers we've ever had in here, I mean, obviously, like we just mentioned, Durham Distillery, Melissa, she's more on the marketing side. Her husband Lee is the one that's actually distilling it, so there's still a partnership. But I don't know too many females that are actually distilling, other than Nicole from George Dickel and yourself. It's got to be a pretty small group at this time.
Yeah, and especially in North Carolina, but there are, a couple of online forums and groups, and there's a lot more females that distill than I thought starting out. Starting back to my career, I started working in the music industry, which, again, another industry that's very male dominant.
Yeah.
So, I feel like
behind the scenes, obviously, obviously, because there's females that are performing everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm like working for a record label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all dudes.
It's all dudes.
Yeah.
So right after college, moved up to New York, and I worked for Warner Music Group for about 5 years.
In what capacity? What were you doing? Like, what was the position you had?
Urban sales and marketing.
Urban sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So you were selling like rap albums? Is that like basically what we're saying?
Marketing, trying to figure out how to market rap albums.
What was an album that you were behind? What's something that we would have known?
Oh, God.
Give us something cool.
I don't know if it's cool, but like Trey Songz was one of the first albums I worked.
Trey Songz, yeah. That, of course, leads to, we talked about this before the show was started. I didn't know if we were going to mention it at all, but you were working for Live Nation. You also were in Vegas during the unfortunate incidents that happened at a Jason Aldean concert. Is that correct?
Route 91. It was a 3-day music festival.
Right. And so, of course, that was the most horrific public shooting that's ever happened in
modern
America.
U.S. history, and it still is.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will still remain to be and never to be
it's a record we never want broken.
Yeah.
But you were there, and that was, I would imagine, life-changing. Now, you had already started the process of doing Blue Shark Vodka. It would be much more of a cliche like story to say from the things that happened, the accounts that had transpired there were what motivated you to start your own business and all. That's not necessarily what happened, but you endured that unfortunate incident, and then
and I was living in Nashville at the time. Some people think I was living in Vegas. I was like, no, I could never live in Vegas. I was living in Nashville at the time, and I only lived there for about 10 months. And I was just like, I need to get back to the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of like full circle. And it really kind of is when I was like, all right, because my parents, were living at Wrightsville Beach then. And I went to college in Wilmington, but, then I moved to New York and Hawaii and then Nashville. And I just was like, all right, Dad, like, let's do this.
Yeah. So it did kind of... It focused you a little bit?
Yeah. I guess you can say it like little fire a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know what to like say. I have friends that were involved in that as well, and they themselves in their own personal life are firefighters, and they were just there though just to enjoy the concert, and they were like, oh my God, and all of their like instincts of being firefighters clicked in, and they had to like kind of do what they do, but just a horrific unfortunate incident, and like wildly affecting to many people. So that's all we need to say about that at that point. But
yeah. But it sounds to me like Brooke didn't necessarily need the life-altering event, which it was, to focus you. It seems like you were pretty on the path and kind of had the idea there. So I don't know. I think that so I'm interested because I'm hearing a lot of the dynamic, and I think recently it was National Daughters Day. Did you see that campaign on social media? I'm sure you saw that campaign. I think you posted.
I posted
a couple things. As a proud father of 2 daughters, but that's kind of touching. It seems like you guys are pretty close knit on this business and how it works. Is that?
Yes.
Are you like, do you guys, how like, does your father, the chief, have is he the CEO, the chief executive officer of
course.
Of course. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, anyone that's ever like had a family business, it's the best thing. And some days it can be, I don't want to say the worst, but you're just like, you want to pull your hair out because there was a time where it seemed like every family, like gathering, every holiday, everything was like, Blue Shark Vodka, Blue Shark Vodka, Blue Shark Vodka. And my mom, who's like the peacekeeper, we call her, amongst everyone, she was like, we need to just not talk about Blue Shark Vodka for like one dinner.
Yeah, because then business infiltrates all your family gatherings, and it's like doesn't feel like a family gathering.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but that's hard though, because anyone who knows a Bloomquist, like we are all very passionate people. And so it's hard not to be always talking about it. You sometimes have to take a step away and be like, oh, okay, like let's talk about something that's not, we call it BSV related. It's been interesting as we continue to grow as a company. We're starting to grow our team and bringing people in who are not blood related.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because they like Ashley Morris. She's actually become our director of media relations, and it's kind of nice because she can be my sounding board sometimes. I'll be like, Ashley, what do you think about this?
Also, it sounds so much better when you have somebody that's handling that for you and hey, you should talk to Brooke, as opposed to you saying, hey, you guys should talk to me.
Yeah.
It just sounds like more professional when you have somebody else championing your products or your company.
Yeah.
We should create a fake person, Matt, like that.
Yeah.
If you want to talk,
a burner account.
Yeah. Talk to Pete. Pete, he represents.
Pete handles
us.
all of our. Yeah. We don't book the guests.
Yeah.
No, but so well, let's talk business for a second, and the idea of a family business. Okay, so I don't even know though what your guys' production is now, and where can it go to?
Yeah, I mean, we're sourcing to, as we continue to grow and we want to get outside of North Carolina, we are sourcing places and locations where we can then, open up a distillery maybe in Florida and then one out on the West Coast.
So that would be like Blue Shark vodka out of Florida, or would just all be Blue Shark vodka and just for lack of a better, Coca-Cola has plants all over the world and it's still Coca-Cola.
Correct.
So
yeah.
It'd be like that.
It would still be Blue Shark vodka because
that's big.
Yeah.
To have other distilleries everywhere.
That's go
the
big
goal.
or go home.
Yeah, right on.
And that's kind of the other really cool thing with our recipe and the still that we use. It's all a lot of it's computerized. It's not the old pot stills. Mm-hmm. And so we would obviously keep the sweet Carolina corn to keep the consistency between the products.
That was my next question.
Yeah, we would have to, obviously ship that.
But how can that farm? It's Pinkston Farm, I think. Polkton Farm.
No, it's Polkton, North Carolina.
Oh, Polkton, North Carolina.
Yeah, the Griffin Farm.
Yeah, can Griffin Farms produce enough corn for you to make vodka at 3 different distilleries?
The Griffin family, I feel owns Polkton. They're his brother down the street. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Polkton, but it's an amazing place.
So it's massive, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just entirely planted with corn.
There's corn everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you their exclusive customer at this point?
We are, yeah.
So where did they sell their corn before?
They used, I think they had other things besides corn.
Oh, I see.
But yeah.
Okay, but now you're we're doing this, plant all the corn, we're going to use it all.
Yeah, Farmer Jeff.
But you use, it's a Carolina sweet corn, but it's if you're using corn for distilling, at least from my experience, it's a different corn than for eating, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, you really can't eat this corn.
It's kind of dry and, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so back to your question. So we do have plans to grow our business. We'll always be Blue Shark vodka, but...
So you're not going to be little old Brooke Bloomquist of North Carolina Blue Shark vodka. It's going to be a world-renowned brand. But we can always say that started here in North Carolina.
Yeah, on the NC Food and Beverage podcast.
That's right. Nice. Yeah. I'm so happy that you were able to say that. Do you know how many people cannot get those words out of their mouth? Even if
Really?
they know our podcast really well, it's somehow some sort of a tongue twister. The North Carolina Food and Beverage podcast. But you just said it beautifully. NC Food and Beverage. Yeah. Well, I digress.
So let's get into some cocktails. We were talking about you mentioned Dale Degroff, so he obviously knows how to make a drink or two. But what does the Bloomquist family drink with this vodka? What are you guys making? Are there things that if you're making vodka, you inherently are making something to turn into a cocktail, because unless you're doing just straight, shaken vodka straight up, which is fine, but maybe throw a little something in there. You got to be making some great drinks. So are you crafting cocktails at the house and at the distillery yourself?
Not at the distillery.
I mean, not
Yes.
not to sell,
No,
but
for training purposes.
for training purposes. Yeah, no, personally, and then I think it kind of runs in my family, is we don't really like super sweet things. The vodka itself doesn't have a bite to it because we're the shark that doesn't bite.
that's right.
Oh.
Yes, the shark that doesn't bite.
Not to digress, but blue sharks are some of the most docile sharks.
Oh.
So
I'm going to have to tell my son that. He's always asking me, are sharks nice? I'm like, well, it's a complicated question.
that is a complicated question.
I did see a fantastic meme about voting and all that, and it showed Jaws, and then it showed the mayor of Amityville, like the city that they're in, and they said, "Let it be known that in Jaws 2, the mayor is still the mayor. Please vote for your local officials." How could the mayor still be in office after Jaws 1?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously, like that's an epic fail.
Yeah.
Well, and I love all these little like full circles. So in August, we ran sweepstakes, Win a Day at Sea with BSV. And the winner is being taken out on the original Jaws boat, the Cricket 2, which is down in Moorhead City.
No way.
Yeah.
So did somebody win that already, or is
It is, but it's going to be a yearly...
so you're going to do it again?
Yeah, we're going to do it every year. I guess a contest. Sweepstakes, you have to buy something, right?
So they're on, like, the Orca, like what?
The
what was
Orca,
called?
yeah. My boyfriend and I, we had to go down to, like, take pictures so we could promote this. And Captain Joe was like, well, you guys don't just get to come take pictures. You guys are going to come fishing.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
And that boat, they are a 501c3, and they take wounded vets out on it.
Awesome.
They made it so it's like wheelchair accessible and stuff like that.
Cool.
I guess the aura that boat, like it felt, and there's all these pictures of like the Jaws and, from back in the movie and stuff. And it's, I don't know, just lots of, I guess, character.
That's
to the
awesome.
boat.
Did you know that Robert Shaw, the captain, right? The main guy that says, "We're going to need a bigger boat." You know that he was trashed drunk on the set every single day. Like he was hammered.
As like like
part
getting
of his,
into character, like
that, and I
method
think
acting?
he also just
was an
alcoholic. But so it really played well for the
If
role.
only Blue Shark Vodka was around at that point.
Like
I
it was
know.
like Blue Shark Vodka was made for that movie.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I just watched that with my kids because it's a good family movie to watch. Yeah,
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Cricket too.
Yeah.
Maybe we could be a part of that. We'll have to
Yeah.
help promote that and go from there. Get somebody on the old Orca.
Yeah.
Maybe they can make lunch out there for us.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
To get a good chef, good Wilmington chef, like Chef Keith Rhodes or somebody out there.
Yeah.
Oh, and he serves the Blue Shark Vodka.
Does he?
He does.
All right. Go to Catch. Get the Blue
Yes.
Shark Vodka.
They have us on a cocktail there, so
We love him. He was one of the first chefs when we first released our episodes to comment on our Instagram page and be like, "Congratulations,
He
guys!"
was the
This is
first
great."
person.
He was
to
the first
comment.
person. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. On our first episode, Keith Rhodes wrote, "Hey man, love what you guys are doing out there. Like, I hope wishing you all the best."
oh,
Yeah. So
but kind of going back to the whole like North Carolina spirit. That I would also say is one of the things that has made us so successful is people like to support local.
course.
It's shop local, drink local, eat local.
yeah.
So, for anyone that's listening that's purchased Blue Shark Vodka, I do want to say thank you because we truly are a family business. We don't have, we don't have big pockets from a, big
Yeah. You're not
angel
under the
investor
Seagram's label.
Yeah. So,
Right.
I mean, it's, yeah.
But eventually, you're going to want to be like you're talking about all this, world domination. At some point, you guys won't be local. At some point, you'll be a big company. So you have to still maintain that local mentality, right?
Yeah.
But
But
if-
I think kind of then back to that's why we didn't, go the route of purchasing
Right.
alcohol and just, filtering it and calling it ours.
Yeah.
And if what's the town's name again?
Polkton.
Polkton can seriously produce all that corn. Well, then the town of Polkton will not only be North Carolina famous, they'll be world famous.
Yeah.
Speaking of world famous, or maybe just North Carolina famous, is the Triangle Wine Company.
Yes.
And because they have 4 locations, they're not quite out by you, but they're out in Southern Pines. They have a location in Cary. They have a location in Morrisville and in my neck of the woods, Holly Springs. And I'm told mid-October to end of October, the new North Raleigh location.
Really?
Yeah. So everybody, including our fans and listeners in North Raleigh, will be able to buy their wines or something like a grapefruit fever tree, grapefruit tonic water mixer, vermouths, all that kind of stuff you can get at the Triangle Wine Company. They will deliver. And if you go to trianglewineco.com, or they can do a curbside delivery for you as well. And don't forget when you're using their website or when you're going to their website to use the NCFB promo code to receive a healthy discount. trianglewineco.com.
Yeah. And before you get out of here, just announced Proof Alcohol Ice Cream.
Oh,
just
yeah.
released pumpkin spice ice cream that is spiced with
we haven't received the new flavor yet, but I've seen it out. I've seen it out.
It's in the mail. Yeah. In the freezer mail. But new ice cream coming out. You got to check it out. Proof alcohol ice cream. Think differently about dessert. You can buy that at Triangle Wine Company and also at Lowe's or at Harris Teeter all around the state. It's fantastic. Who doesn't want to eat ice cream and drink alcohol at the same time? Well, now you can. So there you go.
Maybe you guys could collaborate and do a Blue Shark, some sort of Blue Shark flavor with them.
Yeah, maybe something limited edition for Shark Week next year.
Oh, there you go.
Look at all these connections we're making.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
Sounds great. Well, you'll get to go home with some Proof alcohol ice cream. Okay, we'll also set you up with a nice NCFB hat as well because they're stylish and cool, and proceeds of it go to help the service people that are not employed at this moment because of the pandemic and shutdown. Though, get a hat because they look cool. Get a hat because you're helping to support people, but also just,
And you're supporting us at the NCF&B.
Yeah,
and people know.
One of those slouches.
This is the listen.
Proof alcohol ice cream. Yeah.
Great. Well, Brooke.
Too much Blue Shark.
I know. Seriously, this is going to be a tough day.
Brooke, thank you so much for being here. Max, happy birthday. You guys can say belated happy birthday to him when this comes out. He'll still accept your kudos. And next time, bring the chief with you because we got to chat with him for a little bit. But go to Catch out there in Wilmington when you can, or socially distance, and go to the ABC store, get some Blue Shark vodka, and you will drink very merrily.
Thanks for listening to the NCF&B podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.